All right, we continue this afternoon on Central Valley Talk. My next guest, Greg Steen from Steen Company. We're going to talk about estate planning, in-home care, a whole bunch of things. How are you, Greg?
Well, thank you.
All right. You used to be one of the guests or hosts here on Central Valley Talk.
Maybe coming back.
Maybe coming back.
Yeah.
You always come back. Yeah, good to
I think
see
that's
you.
a good thing. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
So what's happening with your business?
Good things. We, what we do is help people protect their life savings. Most of our clients come to us in a crisis where they've had a loved one have a medical incident like a fall and they break their hip, or a stroke or heart attack, and they're facing a lot of changes, whether they've got to bring mom and dad home and set up some care plans in place there at the home, or they've got to maybe put them in assisted living so they get a higher level of care. Maybe they've got to even put them in skilled nursing. And obviously all these things take a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort. You've got to include a lot of people in the process, and it pretty much says, hey, I'm going to take over as your priority right now until we get all this dealt with. And so it interrupts everything, and as an estate planning firm, we've done it for about 28 years. We bring in all the people and help our clients so that they can really manage the time with their loved one, and we manage everything else basically. So, we work with attorneys and CPAs and geriatric care nurses and placement companies and in-home care companies, and
That's a lot of balls to juggle.
Well, there's a lot of people involved. Yeah, we have some great partners, and some of them under our roof, some of them that we work very closely with. But the whole goal is to take care of people and to do it in a way that will actually preserve what they've worked so hard for. Lots of lots of misconceptions about what can be done. I just had a gentleman before I came in here today that called and was referred by a local company, and he said, my mom has a home and she's got a place up in Shaver, and I've been told that she can't qualify for veterans benefits or Medi-Cal benefits because she's too rich, and that's very typical. So this poor guy is an electrician. He's self-employed. He's pretty much had to take no business for the last few months in order to care for his mom, because mom doesn't have the cash to care for to pay for in-home care at $15-20 an hour, 24/7. That gets pretty expensive, and so we bring in somebody that can help with this situation, give him his options, help him understand her rights and the different options that are available, and design strategies, help them implement those strategies, and then walk with them through the process, advocate for them, as needed. And so that's what we do, and that's kind of why I'm here, because there's a lot of rules that are changing, by the end of the year. Some of the things that we used to be able to do for people, we won't be able to do the same, but there's other options that we have as the new rules come around, and people need to be aware of them.
What are the big rules that are changing?
Well, especially in regards to the VA, they're revamping everything, and so the way that people qualify, some things will actually be counted against them as far as homes and assets. Some things will not. Same thing with Medi-Cal. There's something called the Federal Deficit Reduction Act. It was actually signed into law back when George Bush was in office in February of '06. Arnold signed it into law in September of '08, but our state and all of their wisdom has yet to actually implement it. They've implemented a few draft regulations, but that's it. And so what's happening is that there's a lot of loopholes. A lot of people are getting onto the system that they haven't paid into. Some, like us, have paid into it for years and years through our Medicare deductions and income tax revenues, things like that. But there's a lot of misconceptions even about the rules, and people are afraid that they're going to lose their home if they go on Medi-Cal or if they go on the VA. Totally untrue, totally avoidable, with some pre-planning, of course. But even things like gifting and the strategies that are typically used by people like myself and attorneys, they're going to be changing, and people need to know ahead of time, because I won't ask your age, but I'm 54, and people in my generation are so ill-prepared for long-term care. I'm on the end of the baby boomer generation, and right now in the United States, 14% of the people own long-term care policies. That's it. So you got 86% of the people that don't have those plans. My generation doesn't know how to save, let alone spell save, let alone do it. And so we're ill prepared. We've got smaller family sizes, so fewer options for caregivers with our kids to take care of us as we get older. Our kids are usually in another state or city because of college or jobs. And so there's a real crisis, there's a real crisis, and each day it's getting a little bit larger. And almost always people need some level of care before they pass away. And they don't have the money, they don't have the knowledge of the options, and that's why we exist.
What happens to someone who has no money and needs that care at the end of their life? What happens to them?
It depends on how it actually comes about. If they go to the hospital and then they realize, gosh, there's nobody here to take care of them, they have no assets, they're just going to kind of be shuffled around to wherever they can find room, and a lot of times they end up in a skilled nursing facility somewhere because they can't release somebody to a lesser level of care. But if we're here in Fresno and the first bed that's available is up in Sacramento, that's where your loved one's going.
Wow.
And that happens all the time.
But who pays for that?
We do as taxpayers. So Medi-Cal has lots of different programs. Sometimes the VA will be involved, but that's part of what we pay for. And there's a lot of those people.
Mm-hmm. So you recommend those long-term plans?
Yeah, and sometimes it involves long-term care insurance. Most of the time it doesn't. There's other types of plans that work. And if we can get people to do some planning far enough in advance, a lot of times it's a done deal. You can live out your life wherever you want, whether it's the nicest assisted living facility where they've got top-notch chefs, or whether it's just in your home, just being comfortable and having somebody come in to do some of the things that you can't or don't want to do. But typically, because of human nature, and it's not the most exciting thing to talk about, we wait until there's a crisis, and then we go, oh my gosh, I've got to deal with this. And like anything, our options are just so fewer at that moment. And so, it just pays to plan ahead and to develop resources and understanding with people like us. And we tend to stand out from everybody else only because we have a great team of people, a network of people that you have access to when you retain us.
We're all going to get older. It's coming.
We are, brother.
All
we
right.
are.
Greg Steen, Steen Company. Give everybody the information about how they can reach you.
Absolutely. Toll-free number is 800-456-7559. Our website is protectyourlifesavings.com. I think it's on the screen. And so our consultations are at no cost. And if we can help you, great. We'll let you know. And if we can't, we'll point you in the right direction.
Okay. And stay tuned to Central Valley Talk. Greg may be coming back with his own show here. Who knows?
Thank you.
All right. And we'll be back with more on Central Valley Talk.